Yo, what's good, everyone? This is Ayo Boxing from Adiba, and here's my post-fight review for Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis. And this was a masterclass performance by Devin Haney. I predicted that he was going to win this fight, but I expected him to go through some trouble and adversity, and for Regis to be competitive. However, this fight was a one-sided domination by Haney. It's safe to say that this was one of the best performances of this year, and no doubt his best one to date. Don't get me wrong, Regis is a good fighter. He's a 2 times world champion at 140, and his only loss prior to this was a split decision to Josh Taylor, but Haney is a special talent. There are 3 things that stood out to me in this fight. The first is that Haney learned from the Lomachenko fight. Prior to this fight, southpaws gave Haney the most trouble, mainly because he couldn't utilize his jab like he does against orthodox fighters, which allowed southpaws to close the distance and land left hands. And we saw this in the Loma fight. That was a very hard and close fight for Haney, with a lot of people still believing that Loma won the fight. Regardless of the outcome, that fight was a blessing for Haney. He fought arguably the best southpaw in boxing, which gave him experience and knowledge, and it showed against Regis. Haney's jab was beautiful in this fight. It was sharp, fast, and accurate and active. It allowed Haney to maintain his range and control the distance. This kept Regis on the outside and prevented him from closing the distance. And whenever Regis did try to close the distance, Haney would either pivot out, use lateral movement, or clinch, which would force Regis to reset and Haney to take control again with his jab. And Haney would work off this jab, throwing straight rights or uppercuts to the head and body, throwing the 1-2 or 1-2-3 combinations, baiting Regis to counter the jab so then Haney could counter Regis with his right hand or check left hook. Regis had no answers. Haney figured him out by round 3 and it was over from there. The second thing is that Haney is a better version of himself at 140. This was a common belief among boxing fans and experts. It was no secret that Haney was struggling to make the lightweight limit. You have to remember that Haney was a big 135 pounder and was at the weight class since he was 17 years old. He was essentially draining himself, which had an effect on his power, strength, and durability. Many people were questioning Haney's chin and especially his power going into this fight. A lot of people were calling Haney pillow fist, but I never agreed because Haney's opponents always respected his power, even though Haney isn't a big power puncher. And this fight vindicated those narratives about Haney's power. Haney dropped Regis and hurt him twice in this fight. You could see that Regis was cautious of Haney's power because Regis did not let his hands go. If he did, he would have opened himself up to be hit more. Haney's definitely a stronger fighter at 140, and I expect him to grow into this weight class well. And the last thing that stood out to me is that Haney's becoming a draw. Haney has been labeled a boring fighter because of his defensive approach and low KO ratio. Due to this, fans were saying that Haney isn't a draw, but the facts and evidence disapproves this narrative. In his last 4 fights, Haney sold out the venues. He sold out twice in Australia against Kambosos, sold out against Loma in Las Vegas, and sold out against Regis in San Francisco. That's 3 different locations against 3 different opponents with different nationalities and ethnicities. It's clear that people want to see Devin Haney. He can sell tickets and garner attention. Some people will criticize the pay-per-view numbers, but like we've seen with Tank Davis and Terrence Crawford in their latest pay-per-view fights, if you match the right opponent, then you can sell a lot of pay-per-views. If you match Haney with any of the top big names around his weight class, I guarantee you it will sell because Haney is becoming a draw. In summary, Haney put on a masterclass performance. He fought and beat a champion in his first fight at 140, something that Tio nor Ryan did, so he definitely deserves respect. Haney's a 2-division champion and now has leverage at 140. He talked about moving up to 147 in his post-fight interview, but I think that's the wrong move. There's plenty of fights at 140 for Haney to make and make big money. And for Regis Prograis, I do feel bad in the way that he lost. Hopefully he can bounce back, but at the age of 34, and with his style being the style that he has, I'm not sure if he'll get another big opportunity. But who knows, this is boxing, anything can happen. But thank you for tuning in with AO Boxing with Madiba. Hit like, subscribe, and more content coming your way.